Hello all and welcome to Cards Subject to Change. This is a new show on my channel. I did have it for a little while over on Vance Major's channel, but I decided to release one on mine because this one's going to be a little bit, controversial because I'm going to say a whole bunch of things that I'm not supposed to. So wrestling fans, get your big boy pants on because I'm going to lay down some truths that you're not going to like. And with me to do so is the Austinator. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing very well. Can't wait to talk about some controversial opinions.
All right, so first, because it's fresh, let's get our thoughts on Extreme Rules, which was the pay-per-view yesterday. Now, I'll be completely honest, I didn't watch it because I had other things to do. But what I did do is I caught up on all of the matches, and I have watched bits and pieces of it. I haven't gone back and watched the full pay-per-view yet. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of things live anymore. But overall, I thought the premises were pretty much what I thought. I mean, it's Extreme Rules. It's not one of the big four. And I mean, there's a lot of heat coming out of Extreme Rules from the wrestling Twitter fans and Facebook nutcases. Starting a little salty early. But yeah, so one of the big talking points is there was only one Extreme Rules match on the pay-per-view, and I'd like to address that, and you can add that to it in a minute. But okay, let's be real here. If you have every match as an Extreme Rules match, it gets boring after a while because there's only so many times you can watch somebody go through a table, get hit by a chair, or drag through a boulevard or whatever before the final match must be that somebody must die, because at some point you run out of things to do. So having one Extreme Rules match might not be a bad idea because then it's special. And I get it. They named the pay-per-view Extreme Rules. Well, that's just the way the calendar works right now. They do these, they've kind of written, on the bad side, they have written themselves into a corner by making these themed pay-per-views. However, I think when they did used to do, every match be the theme of the show, everybody was complaining that, why does every match have to be an Extreme Rules match? There should be some real wrestling in the show. And then when they go the other way, it's, oh my God, you can't please everybody. So there's that. Your thoughts, Austinator?
Well, I do agree with you that it's just, at the end of the day, I understand why they did one Extreme Rules match. And to add on to because before I continue with that, I'm just going to say this. If anybody was to have the only Extreme Rules match on the card, I'd much rather it be our Tribal Chief, Universal Champion Roman Reigns. But, other than that, I mean, I think they could have maybe done one extra Extreme Rules match, or just have another stipulation. Not every match is going to have that, but I would have much rather have two matches that had a stipulation. It doesn't mean outrageous stipulations, like the tag match, for example. That could have been a tornado tag match.
Yeah, they could have done something there. Yeah, I agree, and I see the point. It's just, for me, it's just it doesn't matter. Because to me, and I think this is going to be the overruling vent of me. By the way, this is going to be a rant. Recently, it doesn't matter what WWE does, because what the Twitter response is going to be, and the wrestling channels and the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, looking at you, is going to be, WWE sucks and AEW is the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm sorry, but this is getting old. They did this with TNA. They did it with WCW. And actually, it's kind of interesting because Meltzer, back in the day, didn't jump on the TNA bandwagon. And now for some reason he's jumping on the bandwagon because he gets all the fan acclaim now and his star ratings matter for some stupid reason. They matter way more than they should. Oh, what was the what was Meltzer's star rating on that match? Well, did you like it? Yeah, but I need to know the star rating. Did you like it? Yes. Okay, then shut up. You don't need to know one guy's stupid rating on a stupid match to know if it's good or not. Simple question. Did you like it? Yes. Okay, then shut up. They pay attention to Meltzer way too much now. Drives me crazy. And Meltzer's as biased as anybody else.
Oh, he is.
I mean, come on now. If it happens in Japan, it's a 16-star match. Just saying. Or if it happens in AEW, or if Kenny Omega's in it.
Yeah, if Kenny Omega's in it, he's going to get like a freaking 5-star no matter what.
7 stars. 7 stars. All the stars. It's Kevin Omega. Like, I'm sorry. If you need proof that that star rating system is not worth the beans, apparently, and because I don't really pay attention to Meltzer too much, haven't for years, Daniel Bryan's first 5-star match was against Kenny freaking Omega. First 5-star. What? Are you on crack? No, because it was done in the WWE, and he's got to dox WWE all the time. He can't be seen being positive to WWE. He's got to shit all over it all the time, even though that's kind of made his bread and bacon for the last, 20 years. But okay. Yeah, so that's kind of stupid. All right, so some of the other matches, I'm kind of curious, but kind of tired of the Alexa Bliss character already. I think they should have done a whole relaunch the minute Bray Wyatt left. She doesn't pull off the spooky wookie as good as The Undertaker ever did, or Kane. I get it. It's for the younger audience, and we do have to keep that in mind. But at the same end, of course, it's merchandise. Let's face it. It's so they can sell 1 million dolls. But let's just move on from that. She needs a fresh coat of paint. Let's just move on. The other thing I don't understand is people getting mad because Roman Reigns won. Yeah, okay, the Demon was a character. They tried to end it so that he was strong. So there's two words of thought on that. One, if you weren't going to book a loser, then you shouldn't have booked the match. Well, I hate to tell you this, but AEW does that all the time. We're looking at Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega. There was no winner there either. So maybe they shouldn't have booked that match either. Just saying. And that in lies my next rant, which is this whole stupid BS of if AEW does it, it's great. If WWE does the same stupid stunt, it's garbage. Come on, people, enough. I'll get into this in a minute, but I'll let Austinator talk on this point. But the complaint is that Roman Reigns has basically been the champion for over a year. Well, okay, wait a second. If we rewind the tape here a little bit, last year all the fans were biatching because the championship wasn't being taken serious, and they were hot potatoing it at every 5 minutes, and nobody was getting long reigns, and everybody was screaming, "We want long reigns, we want long title reigns, make the title mean something," and then they do it, and you complain anyway. Just saying. Your thoughts, Austinator?
Well, the first thing I'll talk about when it comes to Roman versus Balor. Again, I understand the outrage. Yes, the Demon is supposed to be undefeated, quote unquote, but he's not even undefeated. He lost before.
Yeah, Samoa Joe.
And if anybody was to defeat the Demon, it would be Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we all knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
I knew it. Everyone knew it because he's going to face Brock at the Saudi Arabia show, which is then going to lead to Roman versus Rock.
Yeah, that's the rumor, yeah. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but yeah, that's the rumor. They're setting up for Roman versus The Rock.
It's like, I don't get, because like, this is where wrestling fans are fickle at points. Because last time I checked, everyone was praising Roman Reigns. Like, Holy shit, Roman Reigns is a heel now? Heel Roman is great, and I still think he's amazing. Because let's face it, the Tribal Chief is probably going to be the Wrestler of the Year. Okay?
Yeah, he's well, no, if Meltzer has his way, it'll be Kenny Omega.
Well,
or CM Punk because he came back.
Because even in my heart, Roman Reigns was the best wrestler this year. I cannot recall any match that he had this year that was garbage. Every match he had this year was great. But
yeah, him and Paul Heyman are really good together.
It's like, I don't get it. It's like people will then complain, well, Roman's doing this. Oh, well, that was stupid. Because I'm seeing shit like Roman is being overexposed. No, he isn't.
They want long-term booking, so WWE gives them long-term booking, and then they bitch about long-term booking. It's the trope of wrestling fans complain to complain. They'll ask for lemonade, you give them lemonade, and they'll bitch they didn't get fruit punch. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been.
It's like, shit. I'll even give another example. When Big E won the WWE Championship, like before that, everybody was like, man, I can't wait to see Big E cash in and become WWE Champion. Now it's like, oh, well, I think this is stupid because it wasn't done properly. Or, this sucks because, Raw clearly is fucking scared of AEW. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's another thing. You brought that up. Okay, this might hurt a couple of people's feelings, but I'm sorry, AEW is not putting WWE out of business anytime soon. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just jaded because I'm 37 going on 38, and I was around for the Monday Night Wars that all you wrestling fans want back. I was around for when TNA challenged WWE. I was around for the Monday Night Wars, as I said. I watched the pay-per-view that Bret Hart lost to Shawn Michaels, the Montreal Screwjob. I watched that some live. Okay? So there's that. Here's the thing, okay? They beat Raw in a demo twice. And when I say they beat Raw in a demo, they barely beat Raw in a demo. Now, here's the side note to that. AEW barely beats Raw in a demo, and they go on a Wednesday night, unopposed by anything interesting. WWE goes head-to-head with Monday Night Football. So that demo is being pulled to Monday Night Football, and they still barely beat Raw? Give me a break. And the other thing, too, you have CM Punk and Daniel Bryan on the show, and it's barely moved the needle. What? A couple of 600,000 viewers more? They're up to 1.6 million or something on a good day. I'm sorry, that ain't going to cut it. Especially versus SmackDown. And I'm sorry, but I hate how they frame things. Like, there was a story that came out last week that made me laugh my ass off. They were going, Fox is pissed off with WWE because WWE's ratings are slipping on SmackDown. Let me get this straight, folks. And I don't care how you dissect it and analyze it, but here's the fact. SmackDown is the highest rating wrestling program on United States television right now. So let me get this straight. Fox is pissed that they have the highest rated show. What? Huh? How does that work? I don't get it. I don't understand. WWE is going to go out of business. Are you on? You people are insane. WWE, just in TV rights and Saudi Arabia, they don't need pay-per-views. They don't need any of that right now. They haven't for a couple of years now. With the network, they don't need pay-per-view. AEW is still doing pay-per-view. And here's something that a lot of people aren't mentioning. To watch an AEW pay-per-view, you still have to pay the $39.99 or $49.99, whatever it is for that pay-per-view. WWE is still easy access because it's either on Peacock or it's on the network, depending on which country you're in. And it's sure as hell a lot cheaper than an AEW pay-per-view. And I'm sorry, but most people will tend to go for what's the cheapest, not necessarily what's the best. I mean, look at normal everyday products. If you can get away with it, you buy the no-name because it's cheaper. AEW is banking on people being able to spend $39.99 and they're going on an old system. I'm sorry, they are. A lot of places are moving away from pay-per-view now because networks exist. Streaming services exist. We're in the modern age of streaming services and they're still in the pay-per-view era. That era is dying. I'm sorry, but it is. Why would a wrestling fan sit there and spend $39.99 a month? Well, it's not a month because they know that they'd go bankrupt if they tried that and their ratings would suck. So they can only do 4 a year, which is what WWE did back in the 80s and 90s. WWE can launch pay-per-views every month. Why? Because the fans don't have to pay all that much. It's $13 a month?
I think it's like $5 with ads, but it's like $10 without ads. So
yeah, it's not that much, and that's where WWE is competitive because it doesn't cost that much for their pay-per-views. Whereas AEW, you're still paying $39, $49 for that pay-per-view, $59 for the pay-per-view, and a lot of their stuff they have to give away free on TV, such as Grand Slam. That could have been a pay-per-view, but it couldn't be because they don't have the pay-per-view interest. And I'm sorry, WWE. Here's the other thing I want to explore on this. For some time now, AEW likes to take shots at WWE all the time. On their programming, they mention WWE 3 or 4 times a show. CM Punk's coming out and throwing shade at WWE. And they keep... Even Tony Khan in interviews brings up WWE all the time. Here's a fact. And it's a fact because if you look back at real wrestling history, it's never good when Vince McMahon starts paying attention. The last thing you want is Vince McMahon paying attention. Because if we go back to WCW days, and I know that's hard for some people, but go back to WCW. If WCW mentioned WWE on their channel, they got a lawsuit. Because WWE was paying attention. And they just buried him in lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And then WWE would turn around and, oh, what's that pay-per-view company? You're holding the AEW show? Oh, well, I guess you don't get WrestleMania. They did that to WCW. So you don't want Vince McMahon paying attention. You don't want Vince McMahon to decide, oh, you're competition. The longer Vince McMahon says this isn't competition, the better AEW is. Because when Vince and company decide that you're now competition, Vince doesn't play fair. Vince will pull in every favor he's got, and if you think for 5 seconds that he doesn't have a few favors, you are sadly mistaken. Vince doesn't play fair, and Vince plays dirty. Here's a thought. Be different than WCW. Be different than TNA. Stop trying to compete and just be your own thing. Stay the hell away. Keep WWE off your TV. Keep it out of your wrestler's mouth. Keep WWE as far away from your program and be different than for once. Stop trying to compete. I'm sorry, but it is as silly as saying that college football is going to put the NFL out of business. It ain't going to happen, folks. WWE has too much of a footprint. I'm sorry. I don't care if Tony Khan has all the money in the world. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because here's the thing. WWE has one thing Tony Khan doesn't. If TNT decides because Jericho or somebody says something that they no longer like, or they get a change in management, talk to Eric Bischoff about that. They get a change in management and they decide that, you know what, wrestling isn't fitting our portfolio anymore. We're getting rid of it. Tony Khan then has to struggle to figure out where the hell he's putting his show. And you can have all the money in the world, but if you have no distribution, you're screwed. Vince McMahon, on the other hand, if USA decides, we don't want Raw anymore, and he's in a pinch, just throws it on the network.
And he could do it too.
He could just throw it on the network. He might have to raise the network price, but he has a fallback. Look at TNA right now. TNA's product is suffering hard because of distribution. They're on a channel that basically nobody has, and they're in obscurity. New Japan is the same way with distribution. So right now, AEW is on TNT. Well, TNT has a very bad history when it comes to wrestling. And if you need to know more, just look up the death of WCW. Please insert chuckle here. And TNA, same difference. TNA at one point was getting all the hype, and they were going to put WWE out of business. And oh my gosh, Kurt Angle left WWE and went to TNA. TNA has dealt the death blow by taking Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle's on TNA now. WWE's going out of business. Oops. Spoiler alert. That didn't happen. Sting's on TNA. Oh my God, they're just stacked. They have Hogan. They have Nash. They have Jeff Hardy. They're putting WWE out of business. They're the perfect place for indie wrestlers to go. They're going to put WWE out of business. Spoiler alert. Didn't happen then, and it sure as hell isn't going to happen now. WWE, on a global scale, AEW isn't even a drop in the bucket. I'm sorry. They're too young.
They are.
AEW has been around for 2 years, 2.5 years, or give or take.
Something like that.
WWE just has too much of the marketplace. They are the brand. When people, average people, and this is what us wrestling fans have to stop and think about. When average people think of wrestling, the name that comes to mind is WWF or WWE. Not New Japan. Not Impact. Not AEW. The name brand that is associated with wrestling is WWE. Now, you can make the argument that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and all these new hires that they're making, which is basically Vince McMahon fires somebody and they hire him. Oh, that's not been done before. TNA WCW. What happened there? Oh, I don't know. Remember how you guys have been arguing and chanting that AEW is the place where wrestlers of younger ilk get their shot? Yeah, TNA used to be known as the place where indie wrestlers got their shot. Right up until they started hiring all the WWE guys, and those guys went down the card to disappearing. All the TNA originals, yeah, were no longer spotlights.
Like, other than maybe a few, like, I'm just gonna use this as an example. Except for, like, maybe, like, a few examples, like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, like, those guys, they were able to kind of break away from that stuff. Even, like, guys like Austin Aries who were able to, be able to break away from that, kind of trend. But
yeah, but even still, they got put up against Ric Flair. Remember that monstrosity, Ric Flair with AJ?
Oh my God, that was horrible.
Just saying. So again, they had to job to the stars. They were jobbers to the stars. That's what they turned into. Jobbers to the stars. And the stars were ex-WWE. Well, let's look at AEW right now. Does anybody really think that Daniel Bryan isn't getting that title soon? Like, realistically?
He probably will.
He's getting
Which, if AEW was smart, and this is something that I'm gonna give them a piece of advice. When it comes to who's gonna beat Omega, if you want to actually make your long-term booking make sense, then Adam Page would be the one to beat Kenny Omega, not Bryan Danielson. He just showed up. Don't put the belt on him, but we know they will, because again, they gotta pull. Because again, and this is something I want to bring up too. There is history for a reason. There is wrestling history. We know what happened to companies like this that do the same shit that AEW is pulling.
Yeah.
Like TNA. TNA was once a company that, arguably was one of the top companies in, like, I'll use an example, like 2007, like they could have been competition. I'm not saying they should have been, but they could have been. And then when they decided to compete with Vince, what happened?
They found out it cost money. That's what happened.
It's like, again, Impact's potential, it basically shot themselves in the foot, because once again, they did a lot of stupid shit that TNA basically did what WCW did. And what WCW did is that they basically pulled the same shit. They hired old talent. They basically said to all the original guys, fuck you. We're gonna just have these guys be the top talent, because before Hulk Hogan came in, you had guys like Vader, you had guys like Sting, Ric Flair, all the Ricky Steamboat, like all these guys who you could consider to be like some of the best talent in the world. And then what happens when Hulk Hogan came in? Hulk Hogan was a champion for a year, and he basically buried all their talent.
Jeff Jarrett, although he was kind of the owner, but just saying.
Oh, Jeff Jarrett's another topic for another time.
But it's a recurring theme. Oh, What's this new wrestling company? Oh, they're going to put WWE out of business 4 or 5 years down the road. What happened to that company? Oh, yeah, they kind of went down the hill. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I know that fans want the Monday Night War again. I get it. It was an exciting time. I remember it. It's just not going to happen.
It won't, because the
It's a
fan
different
base.
it's a different time. It's a different atmosphere. There's not it's not the same. It's just not. And you're never going to rekindle that ever.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, the AEW fans are all happy because NXT, they beat NXT. NXT is a third rate show.
it is.
If AEW had to go up against Raw and Monday Night Football, I'm sorry, but I don't see their ratings skyrocketing. I don't. There's only so much of the audience you're going to be able to pull in. There's only so much audience to go around. And Monday nights are stacked. As of Rampage, they know what happens when they go on a Friday. Look at what happens. Look at what happened when they moved Dynamite to Friday night to compete head to head with SmackDown. How were those ratings? Not very good. Not something they quarrel about. I'll tell you that right now. And you know what? I'm really getting sick and tired, and I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but come on, folks. WWE is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
And yeah, Vince is getting older. I'll give you that. Vince McMahon's getting older. But Vince McMahon has been kind of... he's been Vince McMahon for a very long time now. Let's just face it. There are certain WWE tropes. The other thing that you have to consider, well, you know, WWE cannot have a blood and guts death match on Monday Night Raw. As much as some fans would love that, even some of the wrestlers would love that. Here's the difference. WWE is a publicly traded company. Different rules.
Exactly, because the problem is, and I know a lot of people are, well, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? It's because they have investors that they have to please. Like,
Yeah.
they can't just pull the same shit they did in the Attitude Era, because let's be honest, with cancel culture being like a really big thing,
God.
you don't think that cancel culture is gonna like fucking go over there and just be like, oh fuck, WWE's did this shit again. So it's like, again, they're looking at the bigger picture. At the end of the day, WWE, as much as, yes, I have my gripes with the company, sure. Like, I would like Raw not to be 3 hours. That would be a great start. Granted, there's a lot of ways to improve the company, but at the end of the day, are they really going to change? No. Because at the end of the day, they're still getting decent ratings. Now, I'm not saying that AEW doesn't have potential, because they do. They just need to stop with because they're pulling the same shit. And this is an example where, like, wrestlers are also taking pot shots at them, which isn't necessarily, which not every one of them does it. Because actually, some of them actually have good things to say about Vince McMahon and the WWE, like Daniel Bryan, I think even Adam Cole and Malachi Black, like, they all said, like, they had a great relationship with Vince, like, the WWE, like, it really wasn't that bad. And then it comes down to bias, right? Like, because CM Punk is going to have a bias towards the WWE. And I'm not saying I don't get it, right? Because I do get it. Yes, you're hurt. Yeah, WWE should have let him take some time off. And yes, should WWE have fired him on his wedding day? No. But, however, when it comes to CM Punk, I will say this. I've grown up with CM Punk. I saw him, I saw the pay-per-view where he won the title that started his 434-day reign. Like, I have a connection with the guy. So it was awesome to see him back. And yes, I did watch All Out with all the intents and purposes to watch CM Punk. I will admit that. But the problem is CM Punk's attitude is a little ridiculous, especially because I think we were talking about it on the backstage where CM Punk was bitching and moaning on a podcast that he had to wrestle The Undertaker, which, first of all, I think that's bullshit because, like you said, anybody would die to have that opportunity. Like, guys like Randy Orton and, like, guys like fucking, they respect The Undertaker. Like, I don't know if Punk just doesn't get it or just doesn't, like, I just don't know why he went after that. Maybe because he was pissed off that he wasn't going to be in the main event of WrestleMania, which I understand that. I get that. A lot of people probably would have the same gripe, but at the end of the day, having a match with Undertaker at times is better than the main event of WrestleMania. And why would they want to be on last anyway when the crowd's dead? Like, does CM Punk really want to wrestle in front of a dead crowd? I don't get that. And again, The Undertaker facing Punk, that would be an honor. That should have been an honor for Punk. But again, because Punk couldn't main event WrestleMania, he had to bitch and moan about him facing The Undertaker. Now, I don't know if it's just because The Undertaker just didn't like CM Punk. I don't know if Punk just didn't like The Undertaker. I don't know. But at the end of the day, guys like Randy Orton back in 2005, guys like Batista, guys like Edge, guys like, hell, The Big Show, guys like Kane, like guys like, hell, even Ric Flair, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, they didn't badmouth The Undertaker, and they didn't badmouth the match that they were in, because, sorry to say, but let's be honest with ourselves, The Undertaker at WrestleMania, that's a bigger honor than a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And I'm sorry, CM Punk just lost when he did that interview, and maybe he's gone back on certain things he said in that interview because it was fresh off his release of WWE. But I'm sorry. When you complain and whine because you didn't get on last in a pay-per-view, and you complain and whine because how dare they make you face The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which, I'm sorry, that storyline, you got to involve Paul Bearer after Paul Bearer died.
Exactly.
That should have been a highlight of your career. Not something you leave and bitch about. So to me, that's put a big black mark on CM Punk for me. And I couldn't care less. And if anybody thinks that CM Punk is going to become a jobber to the AEW guys, I got news for you. That ain't going to happen. If anybody thinks that Daniel Bryan is going to become a jobber to the AEW stars, I got news for you. That ain't going to happen. And any other wrestler, because they're going to be promised the moon and the stars. And the other thing that people like to say about AEW is this is where wrestlers get to have full input. They get more creative control. You know who else used to say that? WCW, and look where they ended up. Sometimes it isn't a matter of whether they could do something. It's a matter of whether they should do something. And sometimes wrestlers don't know the difference.
Yeah, and you know what? When it comes to creative control, I'm not saying that a lot of people, well, for the most part, if wrestlers have creative control, it's usually to put themselves over.
Hulk Hogan.
Like Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, like all those guys would put themselves over. Like, I would probably say one of the only few guys that might have used his creative control to actually, I don't know, put other talent over is Macho Man.
And Macho Man was pretty good at that, but even still, Macho Man had his lines you didn't cross.
Right.
Roddy Piper was another one. You know, it had to make sense. You know, and that's the thing. And here's another trope that can go to hell too while I'm ranting. If a wrestler loses, it doesn't mean you buried him. I'm sorry, But what is this bullshit that if you have a match with the champion and lose, it's burying somebody? Like, I can understand if it's a jobber and they lose. Yeah, then okay, yeah, they got they got done nasty. But to the point, I mean, look at Finn Balor. Finn Balor lost to the reigning champion. And somehow that's burying Finn Balor? Now I can see if it was Doink the Clown on a comeback tour, yeah, then you've buried poor Finn Balor. But to say Finn Balor got buried because he lost to Roman Reigns, give me a break. Whatever happened?
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
The thing is, it made sense. Like, I get it. The Demon's supposed to be this unbeatable character. I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it again. Roman had to win. It wasn't a matter of, oh, well, the Demon should have won. No. This is the one match where I said the Demon, I'm okay with them losing. Because it was to a legit opponent, and you know you're going to get a competitive match out of Roman Reigns. I don't see the problem.
You want to see a burial? That's easy. Finn Balor shows up as the Demon, and then, I don't know, you do the old Goldberg trope. One Superman punch, one spear, and game over. That's a burial. A competitive match where Roman Reigns was actually on the ropes? Yeah, don't come to me about a burial. Shut up. That ain't no burial.
Exactly.
It's just not. And I'm sorry, but it's just sickening how toxic the fandom is right now. It's ridiculous. If you say something bad about WWE, you are absolutely right, 100% all the time. If you critique, even dare to critique AEW, like if I get an AEW fan watching this, we're going to get a whole bunch of hate mail. But I don't care. It's the truth, and it's about time somebody starts saying it. AEW has made some good strides. They've done some awesome stuff. But let's get real, folks. They ain't putting WWE out of business anytime soon. They're just not.
And you know what? It's okay to critique things, because let's be honest. I say that AEW is complete garbage? No. I think AEW still has great things. But however, you have to take the good with the bad. You can't just be like, you can't ignore the bad. That's what I'm getting at.
Like my favorite thing that makes me chuckle right now is people are going, well, in AEW, stars get made and talent are treated with respect and everything. Really? How much respect did MJF get? He's been dragged down by Jericho for a year and a half. Match after match after match after match. Hell, WWE does a match 2 weeks in a row and you guys start complaining. That was a year and a half of the same stupid matches over and over again. Oh, God. And then, here's another thing. Poor FTR. What the hell? They have FTR on their roster and FTR is being jobbed out to Sting? What the And who's the tag team champions? It sure the hell hasn't been FTR. And FTR's been there over a year.
Yeah, and
they've gotten one shot at the title. That's it.
FTR is one of the best teams in the world. Is like easily one of the best teams in the world. And AEW, like they won the belts from Omega and Page, and then
no, they didn't.
Yes, I believe so.
No, they lost. They faced. If I remember right, they faced Omega, the Young Bucks once, lost that match, and it never happened again.
Here, I will look it up just to check because I might be wrong.
But if memory serves me right, they didn't get the titles.
So from what I'm reading, when it comes to the champions, so SoCal Uncensored were the first champs.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was Omega and Page. Then it was FTR. Then the Young Bucks.
Yeah, so the Young Bucks win it, and that's it.
Yeah, FTR literally have been relegated to a mid card.
Yeah, if that. They've barely been on TV for the last year.
So much for making talent.
Yeah. I mean, but that doesn't get mentioned. Oh, FTR is doing great work. Really? Where? Catering? And I'm sorry, but can we please stop every time somebody's contract comes up, they're going to AEW? Please. Even if it does happen, good for them. But come off of it. Even if, okay, let's say, because the newest rumor is Kevin Steen and, which is Kevin Owens, and, what's his buddy there?
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn are going to go to AEW. Okay, cool. It ain't going to put WWE out of business. And here's another thing. People are pissed because Scott Steiner's son isn't a Steiner. Maybe that was done on purpose. And I know this is, bad logic, but wrestlers who take on their lineage's name haven't done very well lately. I mean, Curtis Axel, they played up the big deal that he was Kurt Hennig's son. How'd that work out?
Not well. He won the IC title once, then he was relegated to the B team, and then he basically is a jobber.
Yeah. Sometimes people want to do it on their own merit. Look at Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair has to live with every time she wins a title, it's because she's Ric Flair's daughter. Maybe he just wants to separate himself a little bit. Sure, maybe the name's crap. But you know what? A lot of wrestlers had crap names at the beginning. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ringmaster. Oich. Kevin Nash. Oz. Oich. And so on and so on. Wrestling fans are quick. Well, that's stupid. They don't give it a chance. They want long-term booking. They don't give it a chance. Not a chance. Oh, well, WWE has ruined all my equity. I don't give them any chances anymore. So why are you still watching it? Well, I have to. It's wrestling. Okay, well then pick one. Either you still give it a chance or you don't. But seriously, folks, and I'm going to wrap this up because we're almost at an hour here. Longest card subject to change we've ever done. But I think it needed to be said. The fandom needs to take a breath. Seriously. And can we just end this whole stupidity of WWE is going out of business next year? I have heard that for literally 20 years. It hasn't happened yet. Enough.
And I'm going to finish up my thoughts with saying this. I get it. Wrestling fans are going to have gripes, and I get that. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to have gripes with at least something. But, but I do agree, because when WWE does something right, they don't give WWE credit. Like, when they made Big E the WWE champion, did they give WWE any credit? No. Instead, everyone bitched about it.
Yeah.
When Roman Reigns, was, finally became what the people wanted him to be, which was a badass heel who, number one, can put on amazing matches and also at the same time have a great character. Now they're bitching about him because he's being overused.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what's going to draw ratings. And who's drawing ratings right now? Roman Reigns.
Yep. It was just like the old Cena argument.
Which, to be honest, Roman Reigns is better than John Cena, because at least compared to John Cena, Roman Reigns was willing to change himself, and he's been better off for it.
Yeah. All right. With that, I'm going to end this chapter of Card Subject to Change. Hopefully, some of my subscribers won't automatically click away and maybe listen to me rant a little bit. And till next time, take her easy, folks.